The Little Man Made of Pillows. Act 1. As we begin, we hear a countdown from 10 to 0. At the number 6, we hear the sound of a run and the sound of a dropping human body. 7 years ago. Once upon a time, there was a boy that was showered with love by his parents. You could say he was spoiled with love. This boy used to love to write stories. Stories that were very diverse and were actually pretty good. On his 7th birthday, after celebrating his birthday party with his parents, he is woken up by a loud thud and a scream. The boy is scared and goes to investigate. He is shocked when he sees what he sees. The boy's twin brother, who was dead. He was found with head trauma. His left leg and left arm were taken off from his body. He also looks like he was muffled by a pillowcase and also suffered several blunt hits to his head. After he witnesses this, the boy snaps. He gets a pillow and kills his parents. With the adrenaline of his parents' death, the boy gets crazier and starts to make a figure with the pillows he killed his parents with. Once he was done, he put his pillow man in a chair on his parents' bedroom. He proceeds to sleep between his parents' dead bodies and turns off the light. Present time. New York City, post-World War III, post-Donald Trump. Detective Ariel is interrogating this man named Takurin. They are questioning Takurin because of his stories being very similar to the recent murders of 3 children in the city. Detective Ariel, who is short-tempered, starts to threaten Takurin to the point of beating him up, which makes him lose consciousness. Once Detective Ariel was satisfied with the torturing, he left the interrogation room. Act 2. After Takurin wakes up from being unconscious, he sees a box that reads "Evidence" on a desk. On top of the box, there was the boy's pillow man. He starts talking to the doll. He asks the doll, "Did it hurt?" "No, they wanted me to scream," Takurin replies to himself. His dialogue with the pillow man continues until Takurin confesses that he was the one who killed those children. Takurin tells the pillow man, "Yes, I killed them in the way you narrate in the stories you've written." Takurin's voice proceeds to narrate the Little Apple Men story. Once there was a young girl whose father abuses her. One day she carves a set of little men out of apples. She gives them to her father, telling him to save them rather than eating them. He scoffs at her and eats several of the little men made of apples. But the apples have razor blades inside them, which kills the father. However, at night the remaining apple men accuse the girl of killing their brothers. The apple men jump down her throat and kills her. Takurin changes his tone and interrupts the Little Apple Men story with a screaming no. As he's screaming, the door opens and Detective Ariel is joined by Detective Tupolsky. Tupolsky had several papers and books which he placed on the desk next to the evidence box. With a rage, the detectives resume to threaten Takurin of the whereabouts of the children. However, Takurin sits there quiet and timid. The detective starts to get impatient and starts to beat him up so he can confess. At the end, they tell him that he has an hour to confess about the murders or he will die. President Trump signed a constitutional amendment to allow law enforcement to administer capital punishment to its detainees as a matter of national security. Instead of killing him now, the detectives proceed to hit him with the back of the gun. Takurin then passes out. Takurin's voice starts to narrate the tale of the town on the river, Once there was a young poor boy who was constantly bullied by his classmates. One day as he sat down nursing his newest bruises, a strange dark rider appeared out of nowhere. The kid offers the strange dark rider a piece of his meal. Touched, the random rider presents him with a gift. This is when he chops off the poor boy's toes. As a couple of months have passed by, a man named Pied Piper is on his way to Hamelin to take away the children. Since the boy is now crippled, he cannot keep up with the other children, and is therefore the only child in the town to survive. Act 3. 30 minutes remaining before Takurin's death. The door suddenly opens and screams are heard from the detectives. They scream if he's ready to confess. Takurin is gaining his consciousness. Detective Tapalxi, as a method of torture, decides to grab a story named The Green Little Pigs and burn it in front of Takurin. Takurin screams in pain. The cops laugh it off and say, "Tick-tock, you are running out of time." The detectives leave the room. Takurin starts talking to the Pillow Man and asks the doll how he killed the third child. Takurin is shocked with the answer. Takurin mumbles to himself the name of the story, The Little Jesus, which is how the third child is killed. Takurin looks at the Pillow Man with disbelief, to which Takurin responds, "Do not be shocked since you also killed our parents." Takurin's voice narrates the Little Jesus story. A young girl believes that she is the Messiah sent to save humanity, just like Jesus did 2,000 years ago. She blesses unsavory characters to the dismay of her parents and the annoyance of others. When her parents are killed in a horrific accident, she is sent to live with abusive foster parents. Annoyed with her pretensions of divinity, the foster parents abuses her several times a day. And to teach her a lesson, the parents reenacted the Jesus' last moments of his life, which they torture her some more and crucify her as a blasphemy lesson. Act 4. 5 minutes remaining before Takurin's death. The door opens again. The detectives tells him that he has 1 minute. Micah, who is Takurin's twin brother, has emerged as an alter ego of Takurin, and the conscience of Behind Pillow Man is revealed. When Takurin talks to the doll, he is talking to Micah. But when Takurin's second personality, who is Micah, talks to the doll, he is talking to Takurin. Before that time is up, there's a dialogue between Micah, Takurin and the detectives. The detectives don't know that Micah and Takurin are on the same body. The detectives witness Takurin talking to himself, but in reality he's speaking to Micah, and Micah is speaking to the detectives. The 5 minutes are up and it is time to kill Takurin. They hold a gun behind his skull. The detectives ask Takurin if he has any last word. Takurin says, "I was a good writer, it was all I ever wanted to be." With a sobbing whisper, Micah says, "I really like your story, brother, I really like your story." Detective starts to count 10, 9, 8, 7. The sound of human body dropping. At the end of the story, the detective gets a case on his desk about a fourth victim that was very similar to the story of The Little Green Pig. The end.